Hey guys, you got Crave here, and I just want to share my basic experience with a board that I recently was able to use. It's a Ducky One white board with white LEDs. Now, this particular one uses Cherry MX bronze for that somewhat silent but tactile feel. So, as I said, it isn't mine, and my use was a bit limited because, well, my wife said don't game too much on it, so she'd still get that brand new feel. Anyway, she liked the 60% Ducky that we got for our nephew a while back, but she wanted a TKL format or a 10 keyless format instead, so I checked with her and her asks were pretty specific. So the first thing is that she wanted a 10 keyless or TKL format because she didn't really need the number pad even for office use. Second thing is that she wanted something in white and didn't really care for RGBs as long as some form of lighting or illumination was there. Third thing is that she didn't really want or need any volume dial or knob as she didn't find any use for it in her Black Widow. Number 4 is that she didn't like noisy boards, but she did want the mechanical format and some sort of feedback with each key press. And number 5, and she specifically really just wanted the keycaps to have a more traction or a grainy feel to them. Given all this was really easy for me to do, and it really meant something from Ducky. And I really didn't want to customize or somewhat build one for myself. Now, the hard part was really just searching for the availability of the MX Brown switches, but that I think just took 2 days of here and there browsing in the web. Anyway, we got this particular Ducky board, and just like the Ducky Mini we got for our nephew, it's a really good pick. The board overall feels like a well-built piece, and as expected, it has a premium feel to it. Now, the spacebar having that design is normal for the company, but you can always get that replaced if you want a more standard look to it. Now, Ducky being Ducky has this thing about the bonus keycaps that are included being very random, so it's like, I don't know, opening a pack in Apex Legends and you never knowing what you're gonna get. Still, they are just bonus pieces, and if you happen to like them, you can swap them in using the free keycap puller that is included. Now, when changing your caps, you will see the type of switch you opted for. In this case, we picked browns as they offer the right amount of feedback but with less of the clicky sound. If you're unaware, they'll still produce more sound compared to the mushy membrane boards. However, discovering or rediscovering mech boards, depending on how long you've been around, is such a satisfying thing. I personally love the sound of mech boards and cannot go back to the mushy format. If I can help it, I'll always opt for a mechanical keyboard even for office use. While on the topic of switches, here's what they sound like using a mobile phone and a dynamic mic. Well, last thing about the keys, and one of the best parts about it is that they are PVD caps, which means they have this textured feel which are very different from your standard ABS. It also means that you won't be getting that shine effect for prolonged use or abuse like you do in some other boards. In terms of appearance, it looks like most other Ducky boards in terms of design principle. Because this particular one is a white model, it looks, well, clean with hardly any frills on it, with again the exception of the spacebar and the enter key. Now, looking at the side, you can see the two-tone design of this particular model. And again, just on the sides of the board, you can see that the top part has the usual items. You can see the Ducky branding near the top right corner, and of course, the socket for the detachable USB cable. Now, that USB-C cable comes in the packaging, really feels very sturdy, and I just can't recall if it was the same material for the 60% that we got before. However, still on that cable, I do wish that they opted for braided cables instead, so it feels a bit softer without sacrificing the sturdiness, as the current one they are offering, or the one that comes in the packaging, feels a bit stiff. The underside has some key items, but are pretty much standard fare. So you have your risers, which allow for 3 levels of lift for the portion of the keyboard facing away from you. And you also, of course, have your rubber feet, which works pretty well in preventing your board from moving around on your desk. Now, the last bit is just about, one more thing about the underside is really the dip switches, which change up the functions, but honestly, and I'll be honest here, I didn't really bother with them, and I don't think my wife will either. But if you are interested in making changes to the dip switch settings, then you can visit the specific documentation section for every Ducky model in the website. The last bit is really just about the lighting, and I normally reserve this part for RGB effects, but given that it is single color lighting, I guess I'll just say that the easiest way to shift things around is using the function key and pressing the F10 key to cycle through some presets. Now, you can commit to memory your favorite scheme, or you can again just visit the documentation page for more details and additional customization options like macro recording. I prefer having a user interface on my screen to change things up, but some people, of course, would rather do away with that, and Ducky has you covered in that regard. You can keep it simple and making the necessary changes, or you can have a multitude of options provided you can spend some time getting used to things. So that's pretty much it for this quick take on the white Ducky One 2 TKL board with white LEDs and MX brown switches. I think it's a great board for typing and gaming, but of course my wife will just limit it to office work. I mean, it's still fine though. She is still getting a pretty great mechanical board with the exact features that she wants. Anyway, thanks for checking this out, guys. I'll talk to you soon.